Hello and welcome back to another one of Red's Minecraft tutorial videos. This one is going to be on a piston portal door. This design was thought up by Ethoslab. Links to his channel in the description. Basically this uses a timer, a memory cell, and an inverter, and then just timing the pistons in the order you want them to work. It's pretty simple, but it looks more confusing than it is. So let's build it. So we're going to start out by placing our 3 pistons, hooking the 2 on the right to repeaters, and then coming around the back. So it should look something like this. Then you're going to go out from each side of the pistons by 1 block, build 3 up on either side. Place pistons facing inward, like this, and then you're going to add the block that you choose as your portal block, which is, in my case, glowstone. So you're going to place the blocks just like this, and then you're going to count up 6 blocks from the middle. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then you're going to add your piston, so it's kind of mirrored. Alright, then you're going to make a shelf. This is where the redstone's going to connect to the top part. And then I'm going to add my portal blocks, just like this. Now I'm going to make wings on either sides by going out 3 blocks and adding a repeater. Repeaters are how we time the pistons to open and close at the right time. Okay, so we're going to make sure that you have the pistons up here. So everything's in place. Now we just have to connect it. So let's make sure that we have enough light. So now we're going to have we're going to see where the pistons meet to make sure that we have this right. It's very important that you do. But we're going to remove these torches later. Alright, so everything seems to check out. Now we're going to need our input. And our input is going to be my cloth block with a button on it. I strongly recommend using a button for this tutorial, otherwise things can go wrong. Next, we're going to have the redstone hooked down into our memory cell. Actually, let's move this back a little bit. Give us a little bit more room. 1, 2, 3, okay. This should be better. Alright, so this is how you make a memory cell. You're going to dig a 3 by 3 by 1 hole. Then you're going to add a block in each corner just like this, otherwise it's going to probably mess up. I have a tutorial video on how to make these and more of their uses. So here's the memory cell, and we're going to finish wiring it. I'm going to wire it just like this. And now we're going to have the input come down to here, and then there's going to be a repeater to make sure that this signal doesn't come back up here. So now when you push the button, it should switch the input. Now we're also going to add our timer, and this is how we're going to make it. Basically, this is the part that gives us enough time to go through the door before it closes, and the part that also makes sure it automatically closes so we don't have to do it. You can change this if you don't like it though. Alright, so the timer seems to be in place. Now we're going to add the delay. Just right click on the repeaters 3 times till they're at the maximum part that the torch can get to the edge. 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. Alright, great. So now if we push the button, it should do one part of the memory cell and then come back to the other. So now we're going to have this part hook up to our repeaters. So we're going to remove our torches. We're going to add this part of it. And to make sure the signal is long enough, we're going to put a torch right before it begins. So now let's see it in action. So then it comes back down. Now this is kind of the opposite of what we want. So we're going to remove this block right here, and we're going to put an inverter. So it should come up here. Let's make sure we have enough room to do this. I think this will work. Yes, okay. So it's getting kind of tricky, so I'm going to go back over what I just did. We made the input. We brought the signal down into the memory cell. It also ties into a timer, which comes back into the memory cell on the other side. Now make sure you have these repeaters right here, otherwise the signal is going to come back into the timer and it's going to create an infinite loop. Okay, so now that we have the inverter, the door is going to be always closed. So now when we push the button, brings it down, and then shuts it back. You can edit how much time you have to go through the door by arranging these. You can make it faster or shorter or get rid of it entirely. It's really up to you. But now we want, see, opening instantly is, in my opinion, kind of bland. I want them to each go at a different time. So now we're going to look at the timing part of this. We have this middle block at 1 and the second block at 1. Let's change that one to 2. So now we push the button. It's got kind of a sequenced event. Now the next one we're going to do is this one. So we want this one to be at 3. So we're going to connect. We are going to connect the blocks like this. And then you're going to take the timer on the repeater to 3. So now it should, these 3 right here are going to open in a sequence. Alright, great. And then they close. Now we're going to go up to the top. And we're probably going to need to make another repeater because we're not going to have enough time. And let's also knock out these torches. Alright, so let's bring the cable or the wire up. And it's probably going to end very soon. Right, it ends right before we need them to. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a repeater. And now we have to remember that that counts as 1. So right here, this is at 3. And if we set this one to 2, plus this repeater, that's set to 3 as well. Excuse me. That's 2, 3. So we need this one up here to be 4, 5. But see, now we're going to have to make a new repeater, and we don't want that. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to shorten what we need. So this one's at 3, we need this one to be 4. So if we set this one to 3 and this one to 1, that creates a 4 delay. Then this is 5, and then this is 6. This could be the trickiest part because you could mess up accidentally on the timing and then the whole thing would come crashing down or it wouldn't look right. Also remember not to put blocks here, otherwise it's going to screw it up. And excuse me while I change the time to day. Alright, so we've removed these blocks. Now all that's left is to do this piston and this piston and then make it look fancy. But let's test it out so far. So what we've done already looks great. Alright, now just for the last 2. This is the home stretch. So we're going to remove the 2 last torches. Alright, and now we're going to bring in the cable to where we want it. We're probably also going to need another repeater. So last I remember, this one is at 3 plus, okay, so we have a 3 repeater, and this is 4, 5, 6. So this one needs to be at 7. And the cable's probably going to end. Okay, great, it's not. So this is going to be at the last setting. And then, so we already have 3. This is at 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and this one needs to be at 8. Alright, so let's add the last cable. Alright, it's definitely not going to be long enough, so we're going to add a repeater right here. And let's make sure that we have this right. So this is at 3, 4, 5, 6. That's going to be at 7. So this is 3 plus 1. I hope this will work. Yeah, that should work, because that's a 3, plus 1 is 4, and then 8. And that should be the last setting we need. Let's make sure that looks right. Great, it looks amazing. So now let's just finish it up and make it look pretty. But yes, before I do that, here's the last overview of the mechanics. We have the input, the timer, the memory cell. This part's very important, otherwise it's going to come back in. Let me show you what happens if you forget this. It's actually going to create an infinite loop and then nothing will work. Actually, no, it will still work. Okay. Had my worries. I'm still going to keep it there though. I've had issues with it before. There's still some glitches. And there's also a glitch I've had where the piston can be in the middle of the air and then it doesn't retract. And it's like something's powering it, but there's nothing there. So I don't know about that one. Alright, one last click. Everything is great. I also have this world up for download if it's too confusing. So you can download that by following the link. I also have a link to Ethoslab, who makes great Minecraft videos just like with Redstone. So he's one of my favorite people on YouTube. Now, if you have this problem, you can just route the redstone over here, and you can fix that problem. Because if you put this block here, it's going to cut off the signal and just screw it up. So you can just do this, and it will still work. Actually, let's do this. Alright, now there's still one last issue that I have to do, and that's how do you get back in from the other side? So once we're over there, oops. Okay, so you can still route it even further if you have to. However, you're gonna make the walls. So once we're over here, we need a way to get back in. And actually, when you go through, it looks kind of weird. So if you add the same material you're using for your portal on these sides, when you click the button, it's gonna look better. Basically, all we need to do is have a signal right here, and it's just gonna have to tie into this block right here. Pretty simple. And let's just make sure that doesn't screw up some of the pistons. Alright, it doesn't. Excellent. Now let's make this side look fancy too. Alright, once again, I have links in the description to all the things I mentioned before. If you like this video, please leave me a rating, whether it's good or bad, and I try to read all the comments. So if you have any suggestions for my next project, please let me know. I'll mention your name, or I'll probably make the video. I'll see you guys next time.